Riverside's big upgrade from Prague, the latest from podnews.net with measurement by Magellan AI. Remote recording tool Riverside has unveiled a significant update today. It adds text-based editing and AI transcription features. At Radio Days Europe, it was announced that UK daily news podcast The News Agents has reached 24 million downloads since launching 7 months ago. The show's hosted by Captivate. Acast says there's been a 21% increase of podcast listening in Asia in the last 6 months. The company has seen considerable expansion in the area. Well, tomorrow, our series about podcasts in Asia will be expanded with a new deep dive into Korea. Adnan Syed's conviction has been reinstated by a Maryland court on a technical matter. It doesn't mean the subject of Serial needs to return to prison, though. SiriusXM shows are to be represented in New Zealand by media company NZME after NZME signed a deal with AdsWiz. VoiceWorks Sport has partnered with Veritonic to offer attribution for advertising on the Sports Social podcast network. Pierced Media launched this month in Los Angeles in California. The company is a Gen Z-focused podcast studio that will only house podcasts hosted by women. Podcast recommendation website Cradle has added subscriptions and tags as new features. Jean-Louis Queguina posts the breakdown of podcasts by language. English accounts for 61% of all shows, although only 20% of the world speaks it. And PRX has announced the cohorts of the second PRX Journalism Podcast Accelerator. In People News, Hannah Rosin has been named host of Radio Atlantic, the weekly podcast from The Atlantic. She had hosted Invisibilia and led the audio unit at New York Magazine. And in podcast news, Project Gnosis, a cyberpunk urban fantasy, is crowdfunding for Season 2. The show follows supernatural agents as they travel around the world to stop conspiracies. Originally written by media company Vespucci and translated and produced in 5 additional languages by Podimo, The Darkness Vaults launches in English today. It's a collection of true crime stories and investigations and is the second installment in Podimo's true crime series. This Arvo in Sydney is new from Listener. It's a in-depth podcast for Sydney, available every Arvo. The company reckons it's the first in-depth local news podcast just for people in Sydney. You can listen on your way to Woolies to pick up a bachelor's handbag and a 4-pack of Carlton Dry, mate. How Long Gone has joined the Talkhouse podcast network, hosted by Chris Black and Jason Stewart. It's been hailed as the podcast everyone wants to appear on, and a clubhouse for the chattering classes. The show's also announced more dates for its tour in the US and the UK. One of the Apple Podcasts shows we love, Ursa Short Fiction, returns for a new season today with a star-studded list of writers. The first show in the new season looks at the 20th anniversary of Drinking Coffee Elsewhere, an acclaimed short story collection. And this podcast is sponsored by Measurement by Magellan AI, podcast attribution, impression delivery verification, competitive intelligence, and simulcast measurement, all in one convenient dashboard. You can sign up for a demo today at magellan.ai/measurement. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.